What up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Knick the Hick. I am Eric, also known as Big E, and more importantly, tonight I am the Nick. And as always, I am joined by
The Hick. Hi, guys. It's Michael Brevard-Decker, CaptainBD here, signing in.
And today we're going to be we're continuing our, retrospect on Christopher Nolan with Memento. But also, usually we start these things off by talking about what we've been playing. So, Michael, I know you've been playing a lot of stuff. So
Yep.
Why don't you just quickly go over what you've been doing?
So I've been trying to get back into Tony Hawk a little bit, 1 and 2. And
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not good. I keep
Really?
trying. Yeah, I used to be. I think I talked about this last time. We did this, and Dreamcast had that one stick.
Yeah.
It was the one of the generation that just had that one stick because PlayStation 2 had 2 and then Xbox had 2, but that one had one stick, and that's what I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and Pro Skater 2 on. And I just remember being able to land tricks, and really put a lot of combos together and just doing great on it. And now, I can get 3 or 4 different tricks within a combo, and then I'm bailing and falling on my ass. And I just can't get it together. I think it's maybe age, maybe hand-eye coordination. I'm honestly thinking about one of two things. Either I'm going to trade the game in Thursday to go towards Mafia, or I'm going to try to play it upstairs in a smaller TV. Maybe a smaller TV will get my hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, it might help.
Going. So I don't know. But I was really excited about that game, and I just kind of suck at it.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I haven't gotten it. Because also I used a lot of cheat codes in those games.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could really do that. It doesn't sound like you could do that now.
Yeah, I haven't tried. I've made it through 4 parks. And, it's slow going.
Right.
I've also played a lot. The only games I've played this week have all been old. So I've also been playing the Mario 3D All-Star Collection that came out. So that's Mario 64. That's Mario Sunshine. And it's Mario Galaxy from Wii. So Sunshine from GameCube, 64 from 64, and then Galaxy from Wii.
Now, how's that been?
64 is cool, man, but they did nothing to it. They maybe smoothed out the graphics a little bit, but you can tell it's not upscaled, and it's still at a 4.3 ratio. So they didn't even make it widescreen. I think that was the biggest bummer of it.
Right.
Sunshine looks really good. And Galaxy looks amazing. So Sunshine and Galaxy, they did make both of those widescreen. And you can tell that they did, I don't even know about, if they upscaled anything. Definitely not to 4K or HD, but they did improve graphics in some way, you can tell.
Right.
Sunshine is stupid hard, man. It is a stupid hard game. It's like Nintendo hard.
Wow.
I've probably got 12 stars, or I think they're called sprites or something, or shines. They're called shines for that game. I've got 12 of them, and I'm stuck on each. In 64, you jump through the painting, and you got 5 different worlds you can go into. Well, it's the same deal here, and I've got 3 of those open. And on each one, as I'm on one of those Mario levels where you just basically have to run and go for it, and shit just kind of disappears underneath your feet, or shit disappears when you're jumping on it. It's just there's no strategy to it. You just got to go, and you have to hit the right spots, And I'm on each level that I'm on is on one of those, and I'm not good at them. So difficult. So I've been playing that, and I've probably probably just since Friday, I bet I've put 15 hours into that already.
Oh.
And Galaxy, I've played a bunch of Galaxy's easy. Galaxy's such an easy game. I've beaten that game probably 3 times at least, and I'm owning it again. I don't even know why I'm playing. It's not fun because I've played it so many times, and it is so easy, but it also looks good, and it does give me some nostalgia.
Yeah.
So then to the big one. Yesterday, I probably put in about 3 hours. Yeah, about 3 hours into what we care about here at the Knick and the Hick right now, which is the game of Skyrim.
Yep.
And I had a really good time doing that yesterday. So I went through the mods and I picked every single, before I had a list that I showed you of the visuals. So I had like 3 or 4, maybe 3 of them, different mods for visual aids or for visual improvements, graphic improvements. Mm-hmm. So I went through yesterday through the mods and I picked every single one, like graphic improvement. Yeah. So I got, it's like 7 or 8 of them now. Like water's better, plants more green, you know.
And it definitely helps, right? Definitely helps.
Like it looks like a different game. Like it's colorful, and Skyrim has never been colorful. It's never been a colorful game. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a dreary, wintry game. Like it's never been. And
yeah,
now it's
usually,
now it's kind of like Fable. Like it's just like kind of pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you call them shits up in Scandinavia? The Borealis or the Northern Lights or
the Northern
Aurora.
Lights, yeah.
But they're every night and they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just lights up the sky. And I don't know if maybe I didn't notice it in Skyrim
they're
before.
there. Yeah.
But these are here every
vibrant.
Night.
It's more vibrant now, yeah.
So I know I was tailing you Wednesday when you said that you made it to the Blades wall where it gives the story of the dragons and all and all that.
Yeah.
So I made it to that yesterday, and then I went to the one level farther, which was me going to Winterhold Castle, or Winterhold College. And
so you made it to Winter. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think I am farther than you.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm on my way there.
Because I'm only one. Oh, I'm not. I'm two different things past that. My bad. It didn't go from the wall straight to Winterhold. It went to the wall to that dragon up on the throat of the world.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk to him. You talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go to Winterhold.
So the whole thing that we're doing is we're trying to get the special shout, right, to fight Alduin. And it's the one that pulls the dragons out of the sky on the ground, and then you can just, ground and pound them, basically.
Yeah.
So I told you last time I was on here that I've got this cheat room. And in the cheat room for a mod, there's a podium in the back. And the podium, when you hit it, gives you all the shouts.
Yep.
So I've already fought like probably 5 dragons in the game so far.
Right.
And like I'm not going to say it's been hard because I have mods and I'm definitely cheating. So it's not hard because I have a badass crossbow and I have explosive arrows. But I mean, you still got to aim and, they're flying around.
Yeah.
I forgot that I had that cheat. I forgot that cheat was already that.
The shout's already there. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I know I already have this. And I went through and I equipped it. And I'm running out of, was it Rivertown or Riverwood?
Yeah, Riverwood.
I basically fight a dragon immediately. Use the shout, drop him to the ground, just wail on him go to town with him with my sword and my fire bolts. And 45 seconds, maybe 1 minute. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, you're such a dunce.
Yeah. I've been playing. That's all I've been playing. I've been recording everything, and as most people probably know, I've been putting them out on the YouTube page. So I'm on my way to the college, man. I fought a bunch of dragons, and it is pretty fucking difficult.
Yeah.
One in particular, this didn't get recorded, luckily, because something happened, but I had to redo it. Man, this one dragon just whipped my ass so many fucking times. It was just never ending. And they're not all like that for me, but this one in particular.
The elder ones, the ones that say elder something.
It might have been
those guys. Those guys give it to you.
It might have been, yeah. It was so difficult. It took me forever.
Because there's
But
like
yeah,
elemental ones, there's elder ones, and then there's real small
there's
ones that are.
I can't remember because I haven't posted this one yet of encountering them. But yeah, it's been pretty difficult, but it's still a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
started, I mean, the problem with recording the Skyrim and like posting it is lots of times you're just walking, or lots of times you're like trading with merchants, and that's just so tedious. So I started fast forwarding through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of cutting it out, keeping it in, but just going like super fast, like 4 times the normal speed. That's actually kind of fun to watch because it's just like.
That's what makes it so nice recording all of it, right? Then going back over it and editing.
Yeah. Editing it and just, fast forwarding everything. I mean, some of it I think one of the times I did it 9 times the normal speed. So it's just like, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, just flying. Have you played anything else?
No, that's it.
So you're at the college right now too?
No, I'm not there yet.
You're on your way?
I'm on my way. I'm not that far. It's just,
remember my cheat, I also have all locations unlocked and fast travel.
Right. Yeah, so I've been playing it straight.
So that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time because a lot of shit just gets in the way.
Yeah. Yeah, bandits on the road.
Bandits, dragons, a lot of dragons. Man,
You get one bear that attacks you and kills your horse. You have no more horse.
Yeah, horse.
You're on foot. You're on foot from
horse.
Yeah, no more.
So, I mean, this one I just recorded the audio for. I had like at least 2 or 3 dragons in one play. It was only like 40 minutes long.
Oh yeah.
So they come in a lot.
I travel a little bit out of town, usually just to run to the stables to get my horse, and then I fast travel everywhere, and I don't mess with merchants at all because I have. You don't need to though. Yeah, I have $250,000.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll just drop shit right on the ground right there.
I haven't posted this one yet, but one of my companions died, which I was shocked because I didn't think they actually could die.
I don't think they could either.
Yeah, she was gone for a while, and then I passed by her body, and she was just laying there. I was like, "What the fuck?" So that was fun.
So when you get Esbern, the old guy.
Yeah.
When I'm in the dungeon, I just got him, and you come out, and then you have Thalmor attacking you, right? There's like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And there's like a room, but it's a door underneath. So you got the stairs, that's where his room was. And then on the bottom level, right underneath his room, there's like a doorway, but there's nothing there. There's not a room. No, it's just like this rubble. But he got her stuck. So the wizard was in that doorway, and he was standing directly in the doorway, and he's getting messed up bad. Like he's getting worked.
Yeah.
And I can't help him because he's in my way. Like I keep trying to throw stuff at her, and it's just like blasting him.
Wow.
So yeah, no, I mean so finally what happened? He dropped. Like she finally just worked him all the way.
Yeah.
And then I got her, but he popped right back up after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The companions and people who are with you can't die. I've played this game many times for a long amount of time, and as far as I can remember, I don't think anyone has died. So I was very shocked.
I did have somebody die.
You did?
Oh gosh, what was it? This dude died fast. It was the dude from the party. From the Thalmor party.
Okay.
So you get that guy, and he's like, look for the key, and then you go upstairs and you fight the guys, the Thalmors, and you get the key for that locked door on the ground.
Yeah.
That's got all the blood and guts and nasty stuff on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you drop down there, and there's a troll down there. And this troll hit this dude like 3 times, and he died.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy. The guy that you saved?
Yeah, he was like buck naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance.
No, not at all. There's a ledge. There's a ledge before you get down there.
Yeah.
And he just like jumped right off the ledge.
Yeah.
And then the troll just, I'm like, why would
troll
you do
hit
that?
him twice and he was dead. I was like, dude, I don't think I could have saved you, man. Honestly.
No.
Like,
He didn't even wait.
I was right behind you, bro, but you are dead. That was foolish.
Yeah. That was just so pointless. You saved this guy just for him to run into his death.
All right, so yours died too, so I don't feel that bad.
Oh yeah, he ran right off the ledge. He was like, "Freedom!" Up, troll.
Troll food.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything? Anything else this week?
Nope.
Any TV shows or?
I'm trying to think. Anything significant? Not really.
You gave up on
The Boys. Yeah.
Boys, right?
Yeah, I gave up. I didn't even watch that third episode.
Third episode was the good one.
Yeah. How do you like it so far?
So I mean, I don't have the hang-ups that you do because I didn't read,
Right.
the comics.
Yeah.
I know a little bit from, I guess, Wikipedia and
Yep.
the comicbook.com, stuff like that. But I like it. I genuinely like it. You would be really upset of where Stormfront's going.
Well, I know she had sex with.
Yeah,
Homelander.
superhero sex.
Yeah.
And she was a made-up character completely from the 60s or 70s, who's not in the comic books at all. This whole storyline. She was this person named Liberty.
Okay.
That is just completely not in the comics.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah.
there is a Stormfront, but it's a
Yeah, it's a
different
dude.
character.
It's a Nazi, isn't he?
It's a Nazi. Yeah, he's a Nazi.
But
yeah.
So with what I've read about that though is that Stormfront was the kind of closest in power to Homelander.
Homelander, yeah.
And so far on this show, she is too. She is the only one that can handle him.
Yeah, I read about that before the show started. That's why he feels threatened by her, because she's the kind of hero that can really stand up to him. And there's no one. There hasn't been anyone like that can stand up to him.
So yeah, there's a scene when they're making the babies, and she's like, "Laser me," and he says, "I'll cut you in half." He says, "No, you won't. Just laser my boobs, but not in those kind words." And he does, and she's like, "Harder, harder," and then he gives it to her like full blast, and she's getting burned, but it's not like doing what it does to everything else in the TV show. Anything else?
I'd like to read about it, but I'm not watching it. No, nothing I can think of.
Isn't the comic book for The Boys just kind of too graphic, though?
Yeah. I mean, too graphic. I mean, I said one of the things I had said was there's way more debauchery.
And sodomy, right?
I mean, among other things, sure. It's just the whole point of The Boys is that the superheroes are just awful. Like, all of them are awful. And it doesn't really seem like the TV show really portrays that. It's like the superheroes are kind of bad, but Homelander's really bad. Whereas in the book, it's just they're all awful. They're all really bad. Like there are a few like I said, like some of those superheroes are victims. So you can kind of see why they would go down that path, because they it's abuse. It started off as abuse, and then they became the abusers. But some of the, I mean, Starbright or whatever, the Starlight. I always forget how to say her name. But she's...
Damn it, now you got me messed up. It's Starlight.
I think it's Starlight. Starlight's like the only good person, but, the comic book ends up saying that, well, if they're all bad, they all deserve to die. And then Huey is that voice of reason that says that that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, the debauchery is really bad. So I don't, that's not my problem. Like, my problem isn't that you're toning down the debauchery, but at the same time, it seems like
they're just rewriting it.
Yeah, they're just, it's just like, we're supposed to believe that Deep is horrible. They're all awful. Like, even Maeve. Like, Maeve is just complicit because she's just tired. You know?
So you don't watch The Boys.
Nope.
Nothing else?
No, not that I can think of.
No good crap movies?
Yeah, well, so I guess I could mention this. So last year, my wife and I, we watched, because we're really big into horror movies. So last year for Halloween, what we do is we watch a bunch of horror movies, and then I write about it on Facebook. It's just like brief descriptions of the movies. So we're kind of getting prepared for that.
Yeah, that time's coming.
Yeah. So we watched this 80s horror movie called Night of the Demons, and it was not good. So
It doesn't sound good at all.
No. It's about a bunch of teenagers that like have a Halloween party, and then they accidentally, bring up a demon. That of course it's very similar to the Evil Dead. Very
like Ouija board bring him up, or read from a
something
book?
like that. It's not even that. It's not even that like that. It's just more like, hey, let's just do. It's like Evil Dead, where they just, they repeat like an incantation that just ends up summoning a demon, and then just like Evil Dead, the more like every time someone dies, they then turn into a demon. So, and then they're trapped in a house, just like, it really is a lot like the Evil Dead. They've made a sequel though, and there was a remake, so it's a pretty popular like B horror movie. Just we didn't really care for it.
I think I recognize the name, but there's so many of those that have demon in the name.
Yeah, there are a few. Yeah. So
I've watched. Let's see. We watched Maleficent 2 the other day.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Not that bad.
Yeah.
I liked it on Disney.
Disney Plus?
Yep. I think I told you guys about Ava last Thursday, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Did I?
What? Remind me what it was about.
So I watched this 2 weekends ago, actually, with my wife, and it is Jessica Chastain and John Malkovich and I can't ever think of the dude's name. Colin Farrell.
Okay.
And so Jessica Chastain is John Malkovich's tutelage. Is that the student? Yeah. The tutelage. So, and she's a CIA agent. She's in a company that works for the CIA, but she's an assassin. So right off the bat, she kills freaking, who is it? Mr. Fantastic, that guy, the guy that pisses off people and horrible bosses.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, that guy? So she kills him. And then a bunch of shit happens. She pisses off the company. Colin Farrell's the one that's ahead of that company. And he sends people to kill her, and he comes after her, and he kills John Malkovich, who's her teacher. But it's a good movie. It was cool. It was fun. A lot of action.
This is brand new.
Pretty new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ava.
Yeah, this is like a brand new movie. So I guess this is a movie that would have came out in the theaters. What? So you rented it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it was good though.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I recommend it.
They've kind of made those movies before.
Oh yeah, a bunch of those movies.
Especially with women.
Especially with women. I mean, like Nikita's the biggest one, right? It's basically
that's
that movie.
True. Yeah, that's true. It is very Nikita.
And then last year, what's his name? Dylan, or not last year, maybe 2 years ago, did that American Assassin. That was kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
Where he was working with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. What's it called? The Angelina Jolie did a movie called Salt that was like that. And they had said when that movie came out, they said, they kept saying, the role was originally meant for a man, and then they casted it. And it's like, it wouldn't have mattered. The movie was still shitty.
Yeah, Salt wasn't good. Liev Schreiber was pretty good in it. I
Yeah.
thought, like, man, he's got a really good Russian accent.
Well, he's a good actor.
So, yeah, I don't know. TV shows, I finished. I don't know if I've told you this either. I've finished the Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
That's great. I can't wait for next year for the 6th season to come out. That's a great
Oh,
show.
it's still on? I thought it was over.
They're calling for the 6th season. This year was the 5th season, and they're calling for the 6th season. Well, at least that's what the interweb said.
Right.
I liked it a lot. That's a good show. And I am into my 4th, maybe 5th episode of Lovecraft Country.
Country, yeah. I kept calling
Really?
it county last Thursday. I realized it was country.
Yeah, it's country. Really good. Have you watched any of those?
No. I just got HBO. What's it called?
Okay, you do have that?
Yeah. It actually came with our cable provider. So
I'm jealous because that's the only thing that has South Park on it now.
yeah. And I really want to watch Watchmen now. Not just because it won a bunch of Emmys, but I did want to watch it before that. So I'm kind of
Watchmen's awesome. Watchmen's great.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I watched. And then, of course, what we're about ready to talk to. I watched that.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
So I briefly mentioned the second movie in our Christopher Nolan retrospective is Memento, which came out in 1998, I believe. No, I'm wrong. 2001. I don't know why I think 1998, but yeah, 2001, and it stars Guy Pearce. I did want to say this was originally written by by Christopher Nolan's brother.
Kind of.
Jonathan.
It was.
Well, it was based on his story.
Did you read it? Did you read into that? I read into it a little bit.
What?
So they were on a train in Europe, I think.
Yeah.
And John's telling about the story, and he's like, "Well, they're pitching ideas for the next movie." And his brother John Nolan tells Chris Nolan, "Hey, I've been thinking about this story, and it's got this guy that can't remember shit, and people use him for horrible things." And he's like, "Oh man, that's awesome." So Christopher Nolan took that story over and completed the idea, made his idea into, dialogue and a fucking actual script, a movie script.
Yeah.
And then later on, John Nolan actually wrote a completely different story based off of that same idea. So there's actually 2 stories out there.
Okay.
Of this.
Have you ever heard Jonathan Nolan speak?
Yeah.
So he has like an American accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their mother was American.
He's half British. Yeah, they're half Brit, half American.
But it's just interesting because Christopher Nolan has a British accent and Jonathan Nolan doesn't.
I don't know, dude. I think they're so good at turning that on and off.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, Americans aren't as good at doing the British accent, but Brits are really good at the American accent, I feel like. It's like the Australian and Irish accents. Like, those are the ones that bleed through that you start hearing them. Like Sons of Anarchy, I could start hearing his.
Well, he lost his by doing.
He did lose
Sons
it,
of
but in the
Anarchy.
beginning of that show, I could hear it.
Yeah, and I think in the beginning you can a little bit. I mean, I think it depends, but I think you're right for the most part that Americans can't do Brit accents, but they can do the other way around. So this came out. So we're not going to go through the movie like we usually do, scene by scene, and the reason for that is because the narrative of this movie or the film structure of this movie is it's kind of built in. Is what? What'd you say?
It's impossible. It's impossible to call this play-by-play.
It's structured into 2 timelines, but you said to me before, you said that the time jumps.
Well, no, narrative changes. I thought you were right on the money.
Narrative changes.
The narrative
so how many narrative changes? How many?
113.
That's insane. So for
because of what he does, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. What he does is he does the same scene, but he'll do the end of the scene. He'll explain the scene. and then he'll show the beginning of the scene and the middle of the scene and the whole scene all together. So he'll show the same scene, but like 5 different times.
Right.
All in a row, too.
So for anyone who hasn't watched this, like I said, there's 2 timelines. One's in color, one's in black and white. And
Kind of.
all the
I got to stop you there. So I watched
What?
a video yesterday of Christopher Nolan's about a 20-minute video, and he did this for the following too. But he has got a marker board, and it's not 2 timelines. What it is everything that's black and white is objective, and everything that's in color is subjective. So everything in black and white happened. Everything in color is kind of up for you to arrange.
Wait.
And that's from Christopher Nolan.
What do you mean it's up to you to arrange?
Well, not to arrange, but to say, is this real, or is this in his head, or is this...
Well, no, see, okay, well, now we're going to get into that. I think it's all real. No, the thing is the color scenes all go backwards. They're shown going backwards.
Yes.
But the black and white storyline goes forward.
Yes.
And then at the end of the movie, they both meet.
Telling you from Christopher Nolan's mouth, the black and white is objective and the color is subjective.
I understand that. I'm just like trying to wrap my head around that, because I mean, I've never thought that the colored scenes didn't happen. The color scenes didn't happen. I've never thought that.
The only thing, there's some of them that I can get into and later where I see that, but you're right, for the most part, no. Like, I take the movie for what it is. And from hearing him talk about it, especially the ending, talking about, he like puts like a question mark on it, like, did this really happen or did that really happen? And you're like, what?
I mean, yeah, there are some, there are some things that, so I watched it with my wife, and my wife had never seen it. So
Mine either.
I did say to her at the end, like, did XYZ actually happen? Are we supposed to, just assume it never did? So, but it's not things we see. It's not necessarily things we see. It's things that are said. You know what I mean?
Yep, and actions that he does.
Right.
Actions that Lenny shows you throughout the movie.
Right. So, I mean, because the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. In the beginning of the movie, the narrative is at the end, but we see some things that are, are questions, become questions. Like, how did this get here, or how did that get there? And then most of them are explained while you watch the movie. Like, he has a broken what's it called? Windshield. Not windshield. The window. And then it's explained later on how that happened. So Guy Pearce plays Leonard, or Lenny, and he has a short-term memory problem.
What is it, about 10 minutes, you think?
Yeah. All right. Yes. Now, here's my problem with the movie, and probably my only issue with the movie, is the inconsistency of that memory.
That timeline, or his time frame.
Well, he has this short-term memory issue. He can't create new memories. So a lot of the movie is just him repeating the same lines of, like, I have this condition, blah, blah, blah.
Everybody's like, we know.
To each other. Yeah, we know. We've heard it before. But so each scene is about 10 minutes long. But sometimes scenes are longer. So, he is it. That, I think they put that in the question a lot within the movie. Like, can he really form new memories?
And that's what Nolan talks about. Is like, there are times in this movie where you're like, is he really, or is he like doing this to himself, or does he really have a fucking issue?
Right. So I explained it, as at least to my wife when we were watching it, as like, as long as he stays focused, he can remember what's going on. If you notice, most of the beginning and the ends of the scenes, it's when his mind wanders, and then that's when the memory ends. That theory fits into most of the movie.
Yeah.
So, for instance, there's a scene where he gets into a fight. He goes to somebody's hotel room, and he's high on adrenaline. Like, you could see, like, everything's just like adrenaline. And he's in a situation where he could wait for the guy to come back to his hotel room, and then he's gonna like jump him. So he gets everything ready. He's in the hotel room. He goes into the bathroom. He closes the door.
I love this scene.
He grabs like a bottle of liquor to hit the guy.
Yeah, Jack or something.
Yeah, so he's like all high on adrenaline. And then he sits down and he starts to calm himself. And then that's when he wanders, and that's when the memory ends. So most of the time, that's how the framing is for his memories. It's like something happens, and then he just starts to drift away, and it ends. However, there is a scene where he's in the middle of running.
I was gonna say the scene before the one that you're talking about is my favorite.
He's in the middle of running, and that's when the memory ends. So my theory doesn't really work in that situation.
No, I love that scene, dude, where he's like, "Oh, currently I'm chasing somebody," and then pop, 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 shots fire off. He's like,
chasing me.
I'm getting.
Yeah. And he we don't see until the scene later, but he literally just like ran in a circle.
Yeah, dude, he ran in a circle. But he was like of like sound and mind, where he was like, I'm gonna get this guy. Like I'm gonna figure out how to trap him.
Right. But like that scene in particular, when he goes to the guy's hotel room, that's longer than 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
He's driving and
when he gets in a fight with Trinity and she goes out to her car, that's much less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Carrie Ann Moss, more famously known as Trinity from the Matrix movies, plays Natalie.
Fucking half the Matrix is in this movie.
Yeah, Joey Pants, yeah. So Natalie is an interesting character, though, because she uses, you mentioned this before, the whole movie, everyone just uses him.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his, disability. And
like the nicest people are the ones at the hotel that make him fucking buy extra rooms, but at least they admit it to him.
Yeah, he does admit it. Well, yeah, that's because he knows that he'll never remember. But yeah, Natalie's pretty nasty to him, uses him a lot. But once, the more we go into this movie, the more we kind of realize why. Why she kind of uses him. But then she kind of falls for him. You see that she falls for him because she feels bad for him. And then she ends up helping him, like legitimately helping him. And that's why he ends up, gaining some info that ends the movie or begins the movie. So like I said, Joe Pantoliano, or as most people call him, Joey Pants, is in this, who's also in The Matrix. And he plays he's a kind of character that you don't know whether to trust or not. Just like Lenny. Like Lenny doesn't know whether he can trust him or not. Also got to mention that Lenny uses he has a system to help him remember. And he uses, he writes down notes, and he takes pictures of things, Polaroid pictures of things, writes notes down on those Polaroid pictures of people. It takes a picture of his car, and it says, my car, that sort of thing. And then the tattoos. And he's got tons of tattoos all over his body, some of which he's actually done himself, which we see him do.
Yeah.
But then, at the end, towards the end of the movie, we realize that this system that he uses is flawed, extremely flawed. What do you think of that?
If he doesn't have a pen around, he's really screwed.
Yeah.
Just if he doesn't have a pen.
That scene in particular where, again, Natalie manipulates the shit out of him, where she provokes him to hit her, and then uses that against him to make him think that somebody else did that to her. That scene was really infuriating because he's just like, she takes all the pens. Like that's what's fucked up is a lot of this movie is pretty much punchline, and then we go back and explain the joke.
Yes.
You know,
yes. Very much
and so he, you know, the scene starts off with him furiously trying to find a pen, and then we don't know why. And then we see the scene before that where she comes into the house and she takes all the pens and puts it in her pocketbook or her thing, and then she provokes him to hit her. So it's like, yeah, why did he not have a pen on him?
I don't know why he doesn't always have a pen on him, always. Like why there isn't a tattoo on your fucking forehead that says, go get a pen.
Yeah, go get a pen. Always get a pen, yeah. So, yeah, what else? So, yeah, and Teddy is... and then there's Sammy. So, Sammy Jenkins, so he has this tattoo on his hand that says, remember Sammy Jenkins.
And that's the one that he looks at the most.
Yeah, that's the one he looks at the most. He always rubs it thinking it's not real. Which is, I think... Yeah, it's telling in the movie. Yeah. But I said to my wife, the black and white scenes were the most important out of the whole movie because they, you know, like you said, what did you call it? You said it was narrative?
That's objective.
Objective. So
it happened.
That really tells you.
Yeah, that is the truth. Like this.
More back. Well, yeah, but is it the truth though? Because he tells the story about Sammy in the black and white ones.
Yeah, but that's his truth though, right? I mean.
So I guess that's more, yeah, it's more his truth. So that's why I kept saying, these are the more important ones because we get more of a backstory on him, on Lenny, and that Lenny was an insurance investigator, and he investigated this one couple, Sammy and his wife. And Sammy had the same, you know, disability that Lenny would eventually get. And Lenny had to determine whether or not Sammy was faking. Hey, you know what I noticed a lot?
What?
A lot of characters, male characters in the movie, have nicknames, and all the nicknames end with a Y.
Jimmy, Sammy,
Lenny, Teddy, and Lenny.
Teddy, yeah.
So it's really fucking confusing to like, as if this movie isn't confusing enough to describe. You know, we have to have like 5 characters with a Y at the end of the name.
That's the problem with Nolan. So this movie, I really liked it. Yeah. I really liked it. It's just smart. It's just a smart fucking movie.
Yeah.
But damn, it's hard to explain.
It is. It's extremely hard to explain.
It's not hard to watch. It's not hard to pay attention to when you're watching it. It is hard to narrate.
Yeah, but sometimes like to wrap your head around the narrative is a little bit difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. So far, he comes in, like you said, it's the end of the movie. The beginning of the movie is the end of the movie. He pops Teddy. We find out Lenny is an investigator for an insurance company, and now he's investigating Sammy.
Yes. So the black and white, yeah. And so, you know, the point of that story was that Sammy wasn't, that his condition wasn't physical, it was mental. At least that's what Lenny believed.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of part to Sammy's story. And, you know, the whole thing with Lenny's condition is that he remembers everything that happened before the incident. But so that's why Sammy's story is so detailed. And there's a part where Sammy's wife, by the way, has put Sammy through the ringer in that she also doesn't believe that Sammy is in this position, and that she is trying to do what she can to like kind of snap him out of it. She's
trying to give him like a shock treatment to,
in a way,
jolt him out of this.
Yeah, she makes him hide his food, and then she doesn't feed him, so that she thinks that he'll just remember where he hid the food, which he doesn't. So she feels guilty about putting him through this. So she goes to see Lenny one more time, and she wants confirmation he is either indeed faking it or not. And Lenny, I guess, is the resident. I don't know, because he's investigated this case so much that he would know better than anyone.
And it's an open case right now.
That's what he says. But she makes his point in to say that I want to know if my Sammy is gone, and I then have to, what did she say? And then fall back in love with it, or fall in love with the new Sammy.
Yep, and she says I'm fine with either or. I just need to know, like, what is he?
Yeah. So Lenny says, basically says that I think that he can snap out of it. Basically what he says.
Yeah,
it's not physical, it's mental. And so then that gives her the incentive. And, remember, this story is told throughout the movies, so we don't see this all in one shot.
No,
but
that's the hard part about explaining all this, is that right now we're just going to give each part of the story all the way through.
Yeah, it's all fragmented. So she's a diabetic, which is mentioned previously, and then he always gives her her insulin shot, which is something that he did before his accident, so that's why he remembers. So she tries to trick him one last time, test him really one last time, and so she tells him it's ready for my shot. He gives her the insulin. He goes to sit down. She waits about 2 seconds. My wife made a good point that maybe, like, okay, you get up, you give her the shot, you sit back down. The wife doesn't really wait that long to then say, hey, it's time for my shot. You would think you would remember sitting down, because of the way your body feels, but he sits
what
right
my wife
down.
said was like, well, my wife, because I watched it with my wife, who watched it for the first time as well. And this scene bothered her. She was like, why does she keep setting back her clock, like her watch?
Because if he notices.
He never looked at it.
But just in case he glances over at her arm and notices, I don't know. I mean,
but he doesn't know a fucking thing. She could be like, no, my watch is broken, or fucking, no, we started at a different time, so it's this time today. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of shit you can.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. She's trying to trick him, but I don't know if I see the correlation of her having to change the clock. I wonder if that's more for us.
Maybe.
More for us.
Maybe like, oh, wow, that was a big jump, man.
Yeah. So then he goes over and gives it to her again. I mean, so she does this like 3 times, and of course, it's way too much insulin for one person to take in a short amount of time. So I told my wife, when we watched that scene, I said, watch his face. Watch his face when he sits down. So I think after he does it 3 times, he sits down, and he has this really weird look on his face, as if a part of him knew. Yeah, it's like a sad look on his face. But then it goes away, and then she's slowly dying. Yep. And then he turns over to look at her, and then that's when he notices there's something wrong, and he goes over. And so Sammy's wife died, because, he was, and then he's put in a home, and it's like really sad because every time somebody walks past him, he just thinks that maybe they know who he is. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing this for the first time back in 2001 and just being really sad about this scene. Because it's just off. That's so bad.
That scene's horrible because he doesn't remember his wife dying, being alive. He doesn't remember where he's at, why he's there. He doesn't remember any of that. Right. And that's terribly sad. I thought the whole thing's kind of a sad idea, and what a nightmare that would be, even as Lenny. Like when he wakes up that one time and he's like, where am I?
Yeah.
I'm in a hotel.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking like, man, that'd be every single day. Yeah. Every single time, every nap, every time you fall asleep or do anything.
Yeah. No, this is terrifying. This is a very sad movie. It's without a doubt a sad movie. Yeah, like again, my wife had trouble getting around that too, because just like you would think he wouldn't even be allowed to drive.
Yes.
Just.
My wife was like, "How is he out? How is he out and about?
Yeah.
Like how?"
Yeah.
How is he not locked up? Like, you would have to be. You'd have to be in a home.
Yeah, a home, or even just somebody who lived with him, you know, in an attendant or something like that, in home attendant or something. Yeah.
But not driving around and renting out 5 rooms. You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't be acceptable.
You know, that everyone is shitty to him, and everyone abuses him, and everyone manipulates him. But I don't know if that would really be the case, that everyone would want to do that. But the point is that he's looking for the man who raped and murdered his wife, and that really wouldn't bring you to the greatest of people. So I think that's supposed to be the explanation there. So in the middle of this, you know, Natalie has a boyfriend named Jimmy, and Jimmy's been missing. And
Jimmy Dodds.
Yeah. We don't know any of that, though, in the beginning. It's more like towards the end of the movie that starts to become like an important thing. But so, because, you know, towards the end of the movie, the first time he sees Natalie thinks that Lenny is Jimmy, because now we start to realize that Lenny is driving a car that might have owned by Jimmy, and is wearing clothes that might have been owned by Jimmy. So I think
now, that was I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was enlightening for me at this moment.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, that makes sense, because he is like fucking swimming in these clothes.
Yes.
This whole movie. Like, these clothes are too big for him.
Yes.
I was like, is this the style in the 90s or?
Yes. And like, I mentioned that to my wife, because I said, you know, notice how the clothes were big on him. You know,
and he's always adjusting them. Yeah. Moving them around. Like, he's got his camera on him too, but he's always moving his clothes. And that's Nolan does such a good job with this shit. He did it with in the following, how he would change makeup, and he would change the bruise levels to see what part of the movie or what part of the timeline that, you know, the young man or whoever it was in. And now he's doing it with clothes. And I kept watching those scratch marks on his face to see if those changed, if they got less, if they got more. And they never really seemed to change, though.
There was one moment, though, where I thought, because I haven't watched this movie in a while. Although by the way, I do own this movie, so I used to watch it a lot. But I couldn't remember how he got the scratch. So there's a moment between him and Natalie where I thought she was the one who gave it to him. So there was a quick moment where I thought I couldn't see it, and then it showed up. So I wonder if your theory holds up. Huh?
Was that in the diner?
Maybe.
Because it did look, that's the only time where it looked a little bit lighter.
But I wonder if your theory holds up. Yeah. I wonder if it holds up that he, you know, he purposely did that it because also there's a lot of scenes where Lenny doesn't even notice it. You know, he looks at it maybe once or twice. Yeah. But for the rest of the movie, it just doesn't bother him.
But with his clothes, I mean, Nolan does have you believing that, or without talking about it, just the way that he moves in them, the way that he moves the clothes themselves, like he is uncomfortable in what he's wearing.
Yep. So Teddy. So by the way, the black and white scenes. He's talking on the phone. He really just unloads so much information to just strangers. Strangers. And it's weird because in some instances he seems tight-lipped, but he says it in the beginning of the movie, he's not good with phones because he was an investigator. He usually deals with faces and with eyes, and he's able to read people basically. But on the phone, just don't fucking talk to people on the phone. Like, it's not easy. It should be. You know, just what's the term? Loose lips, something ships. Yeah, just don't fucking talk to people you don't know. Even if they claim they know you, just don't talk on the phone, which is what happens. He's talking on the phone, and he has, what's it called, gauze on his leg?
On his hand.
His hand, and he takes it off, and there's a new tattoo that says, don't answer the phone.
And then, of course, that was a scary scene. Wasn't that kind of scary? It was
It was a little, frightening. But it's just I don't know. I mean, I guess you need, because he has his memory loss. He needs to be reminded. Like you said, he should have just tattooed, always carry a pen.
His tattoos. What? So he's got, now we know he has that tattoo. He has the Sammy tattoo on his hand. Yeah. Did you catch any of the other ones?
No. I mean, I could have paused it, but I decided not to. He's got one over on his like collarbone that says, "Get the man who, raped and murdered your wife." He, in the black and white scenes, again, that's why these are the more important ones. He sees some of the tattoos where he's looking for a John, was it John G?
John G.
And it starts to say that, John, he has like facts on his legs about John G, that he's into drugs or he's dealing with drugs. And there's a license plate. Well, that's the new tattoo that he's putting on his leg in the black and white scenes. He's tattooing the license plate in his leg. But again, those are all very important scenes because they're important to his character and to what happens. But no, I didn't really. Did you see anything different or new?
There's one on his heart where you can. I saw it when you go to that bloody picture of him. It's always that last picture in the pile, where it's just a picture of him smiling and he's all bloody. Yeah. But that one says, "I did it."
Well, wait. Where? Okay. I wanted to bring this up later, but where do you see that?
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
Where do you see that though?
I did it.
Yeah.
You see it in the picture.
Okay. So the picture is so as he's on the phone and he realizes he can't talk to anyone on the phone, he hangs up the phone, which keeps ringing. And then when he doesn't pick up the phone, things are being slipped under his hotel room. And one of them is that picture of him bloody pointing to his heart. And he doesn't know what that means. But then at that point, is there anything else before we get to that end? Is there anything that
So he's ran into Teddy like 3 or 4 times, right?
Yes.
And every single time, Teddy's given him this long monologue about fucking what to do. Do this. Don't do that. You got to go do this. You got to go do that. Don't trust this person. That person's full of shit. Trust this person. She's just trying to help you out and blah, blah, blah. And then the scene ends with him looking at the picture of Teddy, and it says Teddy, and he flips it over, and it says, like, don't believe Teddy.
Don't trust his lies. Don't trust his lies. Yeah.
Don't trust his lies. Every time. So every time it's like, fuck you.
Yeah. And again, like, again, this movie is the punchline, and the more you watch it, then the joke is described to you, because that is also mentioned, why why that's written there. Because all the notes that are written about these people, and even the photographs themselves, we do see them being taken, and we do see the notes eventually being written. Like Natalie's photo has something crossed out, and we don't know what that is until way through half the movie. Because, yeah, like you said, Lenny tells him, Teddy tells Lenny at one point, don't trust Natalie. And so he writes that down, and then he sees what you just said, that it says don't believe his lies, and then he crosses out the part about Natalie. So then we...
Do you want to talk about the prostitute, or do you want to talk about Jimmy next?
Yeah, you can talk. Go ahead.
All right, so there's a scene, and like I said, like we've been saying, guys, this shit's all mixed up the way that we're describing it, but trust us when we tell you it's way more mixed up in the movie. So there's a scene where he's with a prostitute, and basically, okay, let me rewind that. So there's a scene where he's got all his shit in his room, little knickknacks from his life and from his house and shit like that he had before the incident. And the hotel guy comes up and he's like, hey, this isn't your room. Like, don't fucking do this. And he's like, what do you mean this is my room? All my shit's in here. He's like, no, you got another room. I told my boss about your condition, and we charged you for 2 rooms because we're kind of slow right now. And he's like, well, that sucks. But anyways, so Lenny has a room that he's decorating with knickknacks and things from his home, his life before all of this. So this scene, I think, is open for interpretation of why he's doing all of this, because I don't really know if he actually has sex with anybody in this movie. They kind of lead you to believe that he does, but you don't know if he really does, and especially with this prostitute.
Right.
So he's in bed asleep with the prostitute. She gets up. She goes to the bathroom, and it like triggers a memory that he has of when his wife was murdered. And she gets up, his wife gets up out of bed, and he feels the side of her bed, and obviously she's been gone for too long and it feels cold. Well, this time she gets up, and you can tell from the look of his face that side's still warm. So he follows her into the bathroom, and she's in there fucking doing drugs and shit, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. So what do you think is going on with this scene in particular? Do you think that he's trying to snap himself out of it, or do you think he just wants like some normalcy when he wakes up?
Well, we then see him tell the prostitute, just lay in bed for a few seconds and then get up and go into the bathroom. And she's just like very confused. And
she's like, whatever, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And then he gives her these knickknacks that were owned by his wife, like a brush. And he says, just put them around the room. And then
she's like, what do you want me to do with these?
Yeah, she starts to use, like she's about to use the brush. He's like, no, don't use it.
Put them around.
And so, and then again, she's just like weirded out by it. But, which is kind of funny that she would be weirded out by doing something normal. Yeah. But I don't, as you were talking, I started thinking about it. And I wonder I think it ties into the end, the answer to your question. And I think that the reason why because yes, he has these knickknacks to help him remind him of his wife. However, he's setting up this situation to just remind him of one particular moment of his wife. But he does see the book, and he thinks about her reading the book and them having like a little discussion about it. But he is reenacting only one thing. And I think that ties into the end. But then he ends up taking those knickknacks or those mementos, and he burns them.
Yeah, but doesn't he also say, how many times have I done this?
Have I done this? Yeah. So we don't even know if those are the actual things owned by his wife, or if he, burned the originals years ago, or whatever. All
right. So you're right. That will tie into the end. So.
But hey, wait.
Let's talk about Jimmy.
Mementos?
They are mementos. Those are mementos.
Yeah.
They are mementos. Right.
You were saying.
Jimmy.
All right. So we get to the end, Jimmy, and then so we start to find out towards the end that there's a cop who's kind of interested in Lenny, and that this cop is something to do with Jimmy. Natalie says that somebody was supposed to go meet Jimmy, and then Jimmy never came back, and it's something to do with drugs. So eventually Lenny has this Polaroid of him bloody. He starts to get nervous, and then we see him in his regular clothes. Like we see him in different clothes, and he's like dressed like a bum. Really, he doesn't. And then his car is different. His car is a pickup truck, and then what is it? Oh yeah. So then he sees Teddy. Teddy says, "This is Jimmy. Jimmy's your guy. Jimmy's the one who murdered your wife.
Yep.
You got to go here." And then he goes and waits for Jimmy, and Jimmy knows who he is. Like Jimmy calls him
the memory man.
Yeah, the memory man. He knows him. And that's already been established. That Natalie had already said that Jimmy talked about about Lenny. But Lenny ends up killing him. And he thinks, now here's my question to you. He's already killed Jimmy. He tries to move Jimmy's body. They're in this abandoned house or whatever, this abandoned building. He goes into the basement and he thinks he hears Jimmy say the name Sammy, which freaks him out. Did he really say that? Or did he just think he said that?
I think that he really believes that Jimmy said that. I don't believe Jimmy did say that.
Yeah, because he's dead. It seemed like
dead.
Jimmy was dead. So then he starts to freak out, but he had already told, before he killed Jimmy, he told him to take his clothes off. So we already know that he was going to take Jimmy's clothes, and he starts to take Jimmy's clothes, and he freaks out, and then that's when Teddy comes.
This is one hell of a scene. When he scares the shit out of Jimmy because he tells him to take his shirt off, and Jimmy takes his shirt off, and he says, "In your pants." And he freaks out. He's like, "Why do you want me to take my pants off?" Just I don't want to get any blood on him, like because I'm gonna kill you, and I don't want to get blood on him.
And then he starts to freak. It's like, no, you know. And he mentions there's one thing I forgot to say. Jimmy mentions that there's like what $200,000 in the car
in his trunk.
Yeah, and he tells him to keep it. So
I don't care about money.
Yeah. So then when Teddy comes, and again, this memory is a lot longer than 10 minutes.
Yes.
So Teddy goes into a whole thing, and this just, biggest explanation out of the whole movie, and just really this was a revelation, man. This was
a mind fuck.
Yeah, it was a mind fuck. I told this to my wife when I first saw this movie. I had kept thinking about this ending for days on end after, because it is so fucked up. So, spoiler alert, if anyone wants to see the movie, go see the movie.
Yeah, stop this now.
Yeah, stop this now. So there were, he thinks about his wife a lot, obviously. Yes. And there's little clips of him. And I said to my wife, a lot of those clips of him remembering her are not really from good memories. And so one in particular is he reaches over and pinches her thigh. But what we realize is he's not pinching her thigh. He's injecting her thigh with insulin, because that Sammy story is mostly all bullshit. And it's not Sammy that story was happening to. It was Lenny. And so that's what Teddy is explaining to him, is that Sammy's not real. At least the story that Lenny tells. So Sammy was a, what's it called? He was a scammer, but he had no wife. And that's really what, Lenny just starts going into the story, whereas Teddy has to say, Sammy didn't have a wife, and that just stops him. It's just like, oh, wait. So Lenny exposed Sammy as a fraud, but everything else about Lenny's story happened to him. His wife didn't believe that Lenny was really in this predicament, and that she tortured him. And I wondered, and I have this question for you. When Lenny tells the story that Sammy's wife came and saw Lenny, is that actually what happened to Lenny's wife? Was it actually Lenny's wife who went to go see someone, maybe an insurance investigator, we don't know, and wanted that, that confirmation?
I don't believe that what Teddy says here is the truth.
Oh. Really?
I think Teddy's a liar. I think that what happened, I think Sammy is real. And what happened with Sammy did happen, and I think his wife was murdered and raped. I think, though, that when Teddy tells him, dude, I'm the cop from that original case, we found him, the culprit, and we murdered him. We killed him.
Yeah.
And that's why you got the tattoo that says I did it.
Yeah, but we don't. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
He was saying, that's why you have the tattoo that says I did it. I thought that was going to snap you out of it. It didn't. So now I'm using you to go do all this other shady shit, and it's really lucrative. Like we're splitting the money half and half.
Right. So the thing with the I did it, there's an earlier scene with Lenny and Natalie, and Natalie says, "What are you going to do when you catch the guy?" And Lenny says, I don't know. No, that's not what, I'm sorry. So Natalie sees all his tattoos. That's what it is. Natalie sees all his tattoos. And there's a space missing on his chest or heart, where his heart is.
Yep.
And then she says to him, what about this area? And he says, I'm thinking maybe I'll put I did it when I finally catch him. So I don't know if he ever really had that tattoo. He had the intention of getting it, but he never did.
But I feel like at this point where Teddy's coming clean with everything to him, I feel like he did have that tattoo.
But with the scene with Natalie, he doesn't have it.
And I guess he already has the clothes and everything.
But then, you know what?
I don't know. That's why this movie is so crazy.
But that's why I'm. What confuses me even more, especially in this conversation, this current conversation, is we find out that the wife didn't die, and that she was raped, and people broke in, and Lenny killed one of them, but the other guy got away, and there's a scene where he's with his wife. And he's got all the tattoos. And he's got a tattoo that says, I did it. Which made me started thinking, did he fucking kill the original guy while his wife was still alive? Or is that just a fantasy?
So this whole movie has me thinking like, he did something bad to his wife and that shit bothers him, right?
Right.
And he wants to not memorize it. So I think he's tricked his brain into being able to not remember stuff and to remember things the way that he wants to. But I think that he's always still in control. Because there's just things that he does. He burns shit, like he has burned pictures. He has that burned mementos. Like, even when he does shit, sometimes it's like, how would he know to fucking do that? And there's a lot of different times in the movies where it's like that. It's like, well, how would he know about that? Like, I think that it's all bullshit. I think that the memory loss that he has is he's putting himself in this loop. For one thing, because he's a murderer. And I think he likes the murdering. I think he does. I think he likes the murdering because it comes with no consequences, and basically the consequences are that he doesn't remember it anyways. You know what I mean? Like he never feels sorry for anything. He's never sad over anything because he doesn't have any consequence. And he would be the perfect murderer.
Hold on. So you don't think that he had any guilt about his wife, or?
Yes, and that's it.
Okay.
Every single time he gets in a fight with anybody, like when he is when him and Trinity are going at it, right before he decks her, like, she's saying horrible shit to him, and it takes a lot for her to get him to the point to even have a emotion.
Well, he mentions the wife. That's what triggers him.
So we know that he killed Pants. We know that he killed one of the invaders, the home invaders, definitely one of them. We know that he killed Jimmy. We kind of have the impression that he killed the other home invader. So we know that he's killed 4 people. How many people do you think Joe P's had him killed? Joey Pants had him killed. A
lot. But Teddy says to him, "You're not a killer. That's what makes you so great at it."
Yeah, that's what makes you so great at it. Like, you don't remember fucking anything.
So I just want to, reiterate or confirm. So you think that the whole Sammy thing is real?
I think the Sammy thing is real.
So what about?
And I think he feels really bad about the fucking Sammy thing. I think he feels really bad about the Sammy thing because he's the one that said there is no physical issue. This shit's all in his head. I'm not saying he's faking it, but I'm just saying physically there's no reason that this should be happening. Until that became him, and he was like, it was at that moment that I knew that look in his eye when I thought that he remembered me, that he had just gotten really good at faking it. That he had gotten good at faking how to recognize people.
But now, what happened to Lenny's wife, though? If you think Sammy's real, what happened to Lenny's wife?
I think earlier I said she's dead. I believe she's dead.
But how? So do you think, because we're supposed to believe she wasn't raped and murdered. We're supposed to believe that she was just assaulted and that she was alive and that Lenny was the one who gave her too much insulin. So you don't believe that then?
I don't believe that story, the insulin shit. I think that was just what Joey P was telling her. And Joey P's a liar. Joey Pants is a liar.
So you think that he feels bad or guilty for his wife being murdered, and that's it. Like,
yes.
But here's the really. So we get a lot of these revelations, which you are now thinking that are not real. But the point is that he feels so guilty about his wife's death, and he now knows that he is a direct result of his wife's death, that he chooses to forget it. Yep. And that he sets himself up to continue in this crazy, vicious cycle, this sick game. So I said in the beginning of the description of the movie that everyone manipulates him through his disability. He even manipulates himself through the disability. And we get the revelation that don't believe Teddy, don't believe his lies. He purposely writes down on the Polaroid. He purposely writes down Teddy's license plate because he's setting it up for himself to eventually kill Teddy. Now, I did want to mention this whole movie, I think, takes place within like 2, maybe 3 days.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes a while for him to actually kill Teddy. But, he knows that it will eventually happen once he writes these things down. So again, this system of his is extremely flawed because we know that it is easily manipulated by him.
One thing my wife pointed out, okay, when he is here's something that's flawed, very flawed. When he is in Trinity's house, he pulls out this manila envelope, this manila folder that it's a
police report. The police report,
It's a monster dossier.
Yeah,
It is a beast.
Yeah.
It would to just siphon through that moderately if you went from front to back would take 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like with that much information, how does that benefit him at all?
Well, it's supposed to be.
He's got the cheat sheet in the back.
Right.
Right.
But some of it was didactic. Some of it is crossed out, which Teddy says that Lenny is the one who did that, because Lenny purposely is stopping his future self from figuring it out, that they've already caught the guy. I mean, I do believe that they did eventually catch the guy and that he did kill him. It's just, Teddy just constantly manipulates him to kill somebody else. And do you believe that Teddy is a police officer or is a cop?
That's what we're expected to believe. I mean, when he killed him, he fucking opens his shit up and he's like, oh shit, you were a cop. He finds his badge.
Yeah. With the dossier, I wanted to bring that back, that he says to Natalie, I know some cops, and I think we're supposed to meant to believe that that's Teddy who he knows.
Yeah.
But I think that it's just the whole dossier thing is just a red herring for him to make him think that he's on the right trail or he's on the right track, and again, his system is flawed because he causes it to be flawed.
That dossier just seems like completely like just inconsequential to me.
Oh, it is, but it is. You're right, and it is. But he doesn't believe that, and he's he's trained himself to believe it's important, just like he believes his system isn't flawed. It is totally flawed, but he's made it that way. But he doesn't remember.
So when you're going through and you're seeing him give his wife the shots, and they start taking away dude from Groundhog's Day and putting him in there instead, like you're just like, what the hell? Like, what just happened?
Yeah. And then he knows, and then when he knows the truth, it's just he continues to keep going because he doesn't want to live with the guilt.
Like you said, like
he doesn't want to live the guilt.
He's only effective when he is in tune, you know?
Right. Yeah. So here's another thing I wanted to mention. And again, I've seen this movie plenty of times, and I don't think this one revelation ever hit me. So throughout the movie, Teddy is always telling Lenny he has to go. Like, peppered throughout the movie. Yeah, he says, you gotta go. Why are you still here? You gotta go. He doesn't always do that. Like towards the end of the movie, he's doing that. But in the beginning, he's kind of stopped doing that. However, the first time we meet Teddy, they walk out to the car, and Teddy says, hey, we'll take your car, Lenny, which is in fact Teddy's car. And then Lenny says, hey, you're playing tricks on a disabled person because I have this Polaroid saying that this, in fact, is my car. So throughout the movie, little by little, Teddy is trying to get Lenny's car away from him.
Yep.
And then we finally realize why, because of the money. And I had never, so much goes on in this movie, and there's so many puzzles being put together.
The one
I completely didn't realize that.
Is when he pulls out his Polaroid to take a picture of Teddy. Teddy says, no, hold on. And then he walks over to the car so that Lenny takes a picture of Teddy with that car.
Thinking that it's Teddy's car.
Teddy's car.
That's good. I didn't even think that. I didn't even realize that. So the second to last scene is one of the last scenes is him pulling up in front of a tattoo shop, and he's getting one of what is he getting? Well, I can't remember what he gets. I thought it was the license plate or something.
Yeah. Well, no, he was doing the license plate on his own. Was it the chest piece?
I think no, it wasn't the chest piece. It was something on his leg.
His arm. On his leg.
His arm. It doesn't matter. It's something he's getting. And that's when Teddy pops up and says, what are you still doing here? And he's like, hey, you got to move that car. Give me the keys. I'll move the car for you. And then, the thing about Lenny is he is very hard-headed. Yes. And when you throughout the whole movie, when you tell him something, even with logic, he's just like, no, I'll do it my way, And that's what you kind of get that sense of. It's not that he doesn't trust Teddy at that point. It's more of just like, no, I know better. It's okay. The car will be fine. But then in the next scene or two, we realize, Teddy wants that car because he wants the money. And that's the fucking reason why Teddy is with Lenny throughout the whole fucking movie, is he wants that fucking money. And that's just, I think that just adds to Nolan's brilliance, because you could totally, just fly by that. Like you know what I mean? Like there's so much going on that you may not even notice that. I was just like, fuck, man, I've seen this movie so many times and I don't even think I ever thought of that. Because fucking Teddy follows him throughout the whole movie. Follows him.
Yeah, he's the one putting the little letters under his door.
Right. He's the one that called him. The whole black and white scene of him talking on the phone. He's talking to Teddy. I don't know, man. I mean, I love this movie. I agree with you. It's a smart movie. It's a movie you can't really describe to people. You have to watch it. Again, I don't want to say the same analogy, but it is like a joke. It's a joke that you cannot describe. It's a joke that people have to hear on their own. If that makes sense.
Let's see. So this movie was up for 2 Academies.
Yep.
One of them was for editing, which I was like, yeah, for sure. You should have fucking got that. And I think like Black Hawk Down or something like that, or fucking Behind Enemy Lines, or one of those movies got it that year instead. Brad Pitt was originally supposed to be casted for Lenny. that didn't work out, and Pitt was a little bit too expensive. So they saved a lot of money from not having Pitt, from getting Guy Pearce, who at the time, I think he was just the bad guy in Count of Monte Cristo. That's about it. That's about all he was in at the moment. And then he got, Guy Pearce got quite a bit bigger.
Yeah.
49 million, something like that. They spent on
your voice changed.
Okay.
I can barely hear you. Barely.
Oh. I don't know. I had to. Can you hear me now?
Still barely.
Barely?
Yeah.
Damn
it's like you're very, very far away and it's very low.
All right.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So, well, I've got 5% on my phone. My phone's about to die. So that's probably what happened. They made 130 million or 160 million. And it has been preserved by whatever movie people preserve movies.
Yes.
But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it was up for best screenplay also. And
okay, screenplay and editing.
And it did not win either. And to read this, that the movie that did win best screenplay just is a movie no one fucking remembers or talks about. And I just feel like Memento is just so much better in the screenplay.
Well, editing, like I said, Black Hawk Down, and
I
when
know.
have you wanted to be like, man, you know what I want to watch sometime soon? Some Black Hawk Down.
Never. But yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I'm going to tell you right now, it's definitely going to be either 1 or 2 in the list.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really, really high up there, man. I really like The Prestige.
Yeah, me too. That's why it's going to be difficult. And
I've never seen Tenet. I've never seen the 1918 or what, 1917? Was that the one? Dunkirk. I say that every time. I haven't seen Dunkirk. I haven't seen.
Neither have I.
Tenet.
Tenet. Well, that's brand new. So
yeah,
that's how we're going to end this with.
I've only watched parts of Interstellar.
Yeah, I've never watched all of Interstellar either. But the next one is Insomnia.
Yep.
And what's interesting to note about that, it's the one of the only movies he didn't write.
I think it's the only one.
Yeah, full movie. Yeah, the only full movie he didn't write.
Yeah, he did the screenplay, and actually, it's a remake.
Yes, it's a remake. But I am a little excited to see that one because I haven't seen it since 2002.
That one has a lot of players in it, man.
Yeah, Pacino and Robin Williams.
Yep, Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. So unless you have anything else to say, I think we're good.
I don't think so. We've got a good director to do some movies over, guys.
Yeah. And
if you guys don't understand us, I'm sorry, but they're a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and just to note, we are not doing the Batman movies because that's probably for another list and for another time. All right, then with that said, I've been Eric and I've been the Nick. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I am with
the Hick, Michael Brevard Decker. Check us out on Facebook, Gamers Network. Check us out on YouTube. You can come see these videos of this and the Gamers Group Pod, and you can watch Eric's Skyrim videos. They're a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Keep checking us out, man. Have fun with us, guys. Come hang out.
Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Good night.
Later. Night.